Pep wins his 5th Carabao Cup.
His 5th Carabao Cup, that's right. Under Pep Guardiola, Manchester City, they have been stacking up the trophies in the trophy cabinet. They've won 16 major trophies under him. That list doesn't include 3 community shields as well. He's also helped them become 6-time Premier League champions, and they also won their first Champions League trophy under Pep. Now, a big part of the reason why City was able to lift that trophy yesterday was because of one Nico O'Reilly, who had the brace yesterday. So, of course, our crew had to speak with him after the match. Take a listen.
It does a lot for us, build momentum and just push on now. Obviously, it's a big blow for them as well. They was going for everything, just as we was. But
do you smell blood in the water now?
Yeah, 100%. I think that the blood never went. We've always smelled blood. We're confident within ourselves. We know we can do it. They've got to come to our place, which is not a tough place to come to, as everyone's seen this season. So. Yeah, we do smell blood, and we're going to keep going.
Can we just talk about the smile on Troy's face when he said blood in the
water?
Yo, he couldn't wait to jump. He was
trying to get that soundbite out of it.
Oh my gosh, Troy, enjoying Arsenal's demise a little bit too much, just a little bit.
Yeah, you should have seen him in the group chat. You think that face in the group chat, he was not doesn't care about Arsenal fans, clearly, because he was coming after all of y'all. It was interesting.
He's going to give you guys a little bit of crap when he comes back, and that's putting it nicely. But, yeah, look at your camera. You looking at your cameras?
No. I'm just looking when you said you guys. I don't know who you're talking to. Just looking behind me. I don't know if Reese or someone else was behind me in production. I don't know.
How about we talk about Nico O'Reilly? Because this kid, when he was coming up, he was really a number 10 in that position. Under Pep Guardiola, though, we've been seeing him play in the defense, and now he's playing a bit more in the midfield. This is a guy who's finding his way all around the pitch. He was even the player of the month in February in the Premier League. I mean, what's been really unlocked in this Nico O'Reilly kid?
I think it's just an element of freedom. You can tell that Pep really trusts him. And getting Pep's trust is not always the easiest thing in world football to get. I mean, look at Phil Foden. That's another Manchester through and through, an academy prospect who has arguably maybe lost an element of trust from Pep. What you get from Nico O'Reilly, though, and doesn't matter in terms of the occasion, because this isn't the first time I've seen him have a massive game. I watched him have a massive game against Real Madrid away from home. And that kind of tells you that the occasion's never too big for him. And sometimes you require that local pride, the person who understands the club in and out, that's come through the academy system, not only for what it does for your whole club throughout, but then when he has moments like this, the whole boost, it's different if Erling Haaland goes and scores a brace, you almost expect it. But when this young man, who's obviously Manchester through and through, has 0161, which is the local area tag, tattooed on him, bleeds this club throughout, goes and scores a brace at Wembley, it has a completely different energy. And I could only imagine in terms of the consistency that he's going to be able to deliver with this year and obviously then going forward in the Man City shirt as well.
There's a lot of players that become very Pep-coded. I think Nico O'Reilly is one of those when you look at his evolution on the left-hand side pre-January and post-January on the right, where he's been able to interpret the freedom that you're talking about, Jaydee, with the tools that Pep gives him. And he's very young and he's going to keep on evolving. And once you do get that trust from Pep, you kind of like unlock a certain level to your game that perhaps you might not unlock with different managers, right? Or other managers. He's that good, Pep, because it's not only about the results and the way of playing, it's about transforming players, and he's transformed Nico O'Reilly and allowed himself, the player, to find that different level. Now it's about maintaining that trust. You said Phil Foden's lost that trust. You'll have Pep's trust until you keep on performing, and then that's the kind of like the brutal nature of playing under Pep. You got to keep on evolving. The game needs to keep on evolving, and gets to a certain point where if you don't deliver, he'll find somebody new.
I think it's even different with him because the diversity in his game, he's just 21 years old, and he's already played 3, maybe 4 different positions for Manchester City at just 21 years old. And we mentioned Phil Foden, not to mention him again, but Phil Foden has a very specific profile of game and position that he needs to play to have success. And even then, he's not really consistent. Nico O'Reilly is showing consistency at multiple positions, and that unlocks his ability to play and to really be able to be able to plug him in different players wherever they need his abilities. I think that it gives him that opportunity to get on the pitch even more. That's going to just expand the trust that Pep has in him and knows that he can plug him in different spots. I think it's very different comparisons, but Weston McKennie is a player that is used all over the pitch, and Nico O'Reilly is now showing ability to be shown in different positions and to perform. And in the biggest game that he's played for Manchester City in the Cup Final, gets a brace. It's going to clearly show Pep that he can trust him even more.
I just think that when you look at his evolution, I've seen this happen a number of times in terms of, especially Pep's tenure at Man City, where when he trusts a player or he wants to evolve you, he kind of sees a mold for you that you might not even see for yourself. Because no doubt about it, Nico O'Reilly would have come into this, especially wanting to break into the first team, and said, I want to be the 10. But if you think about the same trajectory that Zinchenko had, might not have had the same level of exposure, but he came into Man City as a 10, ended up being a left back and never moved from left back pretty much again. But then the evolution of his own game in terms of his ball control, being an inverted fullback now, it just adds an element of control within a game of football, which, if I could give Pep a middle name, I would give him control in terms of what he wants to demonstrate every single time he goes on a pitch. But the other aspect of it is, if you realise the players that last the longest with Pep are the ones that listen to him. And I know I listen, everybody listens, but when I say listens, I mean, like, for example, Bernardo Silva. Pep will not let him go. And they call him the class, what do they call him? What's the terminology you have here when you have like a valedictorian or someone who's a teacher's pet is the words that they use in terms of describe Bernardo Silva. But it isn't just in terms of what he does on the pitch. It's also the fact that Pep can trust him in any position, whether that means the 10, a deeper role, out wide. That is versatility. That is the reason that makes Pep tick over time with you and make you feel like he can trust you in any time.
You know what I'm seeing in Nico O'Reilly, though? Because to a certain extent, yes, it's that inverted fullback that Pep has really demonstrated on the world stage, that he's learned to master that within his teams, right? And then there's other managers that have taken that and turned their fullbacks into inverted fullbacks. The verticality, the way that he gets into the box, right? Because there's one thing to pop into the midfield, control the game a little bit. Then there's another thing, getting in the box, finishing plays. Mm-hmm. And he's done that already this season. It's pretty awesome to watch such a young kid. Just again, I use the word interpretation because there is a freedom, there is a liberty, there is all right, you're so good, you can arrive to certain areas of plays where they progress and either start them, be part of the build-up, or finish them.
How are you guys feeling about City's chances to close in on Arsenal? Because I feel like when you talk about City a lot, you go, okay, well, if you've got Erling Haaland scoring, it doesn't matter the defensive issues that you have in the back, you're good. City's going to be good. But Erling Haaland hasn't really been able to score much in these games, but Semenyo steps up. We see Nico O'Reilly stepping up. So, Stefano, do you have confidence in City moving forward, especially after yesterday?
I definitely think that there's a psychological aspect to it. I think 9 points is a lot, and I do think that Arsenal has still been the best team in the Premier League this season by a pretty decent margin. I think 9 points is too much, but the pressure will be on Arsenal now. And I think that the way that Pep and everyone kind of played that off yesterday, no, they're 9 points ahead. After the match, he was asked about it several times, and he was like, I don't think this is going to be a possibility. They're in control. He was talking about some of the dropped points that Manchester City had and difficult draws that put them in this position to be 9 points back. They're playing it right, Manchester City, as far as pushing all the pressure back onto Arsenal. I think 9 points is too much, and this trophy means way too much.
There's also a reality of that situation. If Pep was talking like that with a 2-point swing, a 3-point swing, I'd say, I see what he's doing there. They're also 9 points back.
Right.
It's really on Arsenal.
I think the next two games really decide what the title is, and if we could get the graphic up one more time, I just want to say there's a long congestion of time that Arsenal spend playing in London. And whether that's at home or teams that they're playing technically on the road, like a West Ham, and it's still in London. So I just think that travel, people don't recognise how much, especially when you're competing on so many different fronts, can have an impact both psychologically in terms of from a mental perspective, but also physically on your body. And having such a, I would say, almost favourable stretch of playing a lot of your games, especially down the stretch, only 12 miles away, only 15 miles away, round the corner is still a local hotel. This right here, from Fulham onwards, only Burnley is the last time that you will leave. If you add a potentially an FA Cup in that as well, that tells me you will have a large stretch of your games, also Newcastle, because that Newcastle game is going to be at home, A large stretch of your games being based in London could be really, and people laugh at me, could be a deciding factor as to.
And you're going to Portugal. You got a trip to Portugal in between there.
But then you want to come back and at least you're in your home city, at least you're in your home sort of surroundings, and the travel aspect of it is going to pay a massive fatigue, especially for this team that now in a position that they have never been in before, in leading and wanting to close this out. So I do think it's more of a mental edge than it is anything else. They have to really psychologically